what are the biggest common mistakes you see founders make when they're scaling?
I think there's been a big shift, which is important for founders in actually building businesses that don't necessarily follow the kind of growth at all costs model. But from day one, starting out to build a kind of revenue generating business, and a business that can survive outside of that kind of venture environment, because it is getting a lot harder for founders. And almost everyone I speak to today, with the exception of some single AI focused startups, everyone is really finding it difficult to raise capital, and is focusing in on operational efficiencies and how they can really bolster their revenue and generate the most revenue.
That's true. Hi everyone, it's Akansha Dimri, the founder and editor-in-chief of Tech Funding News, where we cover startup innovations and investment. And welcome to another episode of Tech Talks with TFN. Today we have been joined by Tom DeLucy, who's the CEO and co-founder of Bricksave, a London-based platform which is transforming how everyone can invest in global real estate. So let's get back to our interview and welcome Tom. Hi Tom, how are you and how are you doing today?
Good morning, Akansha. Good, thank you. Thank you for the introduction and having me today.
That's lovely. Tom, there is so much we have to talk in such a little time, and I was just thinking to start with your big and beyond experience across like 70 startups where you've worked across tech, life science, and luxury. So, what gaps did you see in the real estate investment space that inspired you to build Bricksave?
So when we set up Bricksave, I'd recently been involved in 2 or 3 real estate online platforms that we'd exited. And so we were naturally drawn to the kind of real estate space. And at the same time, I was looking at the democratization of investment, so equity crowdfunding, and giving people access to investment opportunities and things online. Companies like Robinhood and things were setting up. So we were actually looking at those as potential investment targets and got drawn towards real estate crowdfunding, I think because of the background that we'd had in real estate. And we did our due diligence on quite a few platforms. But what we found was, whilst there were a lot of these businesses out there that were looking to target kind of smaller ticket investors and fractional investment, they were still offering institutional products. And I think we found there was a disconnect in terms of the level of sophistication and understanding that the potential client base had, and the product that was being offered. Didn't really like any of the platforms that we were specifically looking at and doing our due diligence on. And from there, I guess we came up with the idea of what we wanted, which was an easy to understand product that focused on simple residential real estate that could offer secure returns and allow anyone to build their own kind of global portfolio. And we just couldn't find anyone who was doing it. As I said, there were all these platforms offering institutional products. And so the idea of Bricksave came about from doing that and creating something that wasn't there in the market. I think a lot of it was, we wanted to give access to an asset class that a lot of people don't have access to currently. You hear and read about all the time, the younger generations. It's getting harder and harder for them to buy their own properties, unlike the generations before them. And with property prices going up, that's only going to continue and is only going to become a bigger problem. So by giving them access to fractional real estate, you are allowing that younger generation to get onto the property ladder with smaller capital amounts. And we think that fractional ownership can really solve that problem.
When I think about the real problem that Bricksave is solving in Europe and in Fintech is providing loans to a younger generation and the Gen Zs, is what I understand.
So what it is we're allowing people to invest into real estate and own a portion of it. So it's not loans, it's direct investments.
And it will be great if you could also talk about your multiple level of experiences across 70 different startups, and how was the journey like?
I started two of my own businesses, I guess 15, 16 years ago now. And then I exited those and began working with a family office who were investing in early stage companies. My kind of route into it was I was actually going into some of the businesses and helping them hands-on, on the ground, supporting the founders, supporting various teams within the company to help them grow, build a structure, and scale their products. So as I said, that was kind of where the idea of Bricksave came from. We were looking for an investment opportunity. We'd identified fractional investment and real estate crowdfunding as an area we wanted to be in, but we didn't see a solution at the time that we liked. And I suppose that's what led me, coming back onto the other side of the table and becoming a founder again, was to fill that space within the fractional real estate market.
Why did real estate feel like the next frontier of fintech innovation for you and your co-founder?
So I think what we saw with real estate is, it is a very traditional industry. It is a bricks and mortar industry, and it has not moved as quickly with technology as it could have done. When you look at other industries, where marketplaces became apparent, you had the likes of eBay and Amazon appearing a lot earlier than anything in real estate. So even kind of real estate classifieds platforms, which we're now, all very familiar with, they were, one of the last ones to happen. The real estate industry just moved slowly. It moves, with very kind of outdated processes. There are still a lot of kind of traditional ways of operating, these entrenched thoughts that real estate is all just about networking and face to face, which has meant that there have been high barriers to entry and also kind of limited transparency within the industry. As such, real estate investment has remained, largely inaccessible and inefficient compared to other investment classes. And I think it's an obvious opportunity to kind of bring technology and standardization to the industry, and really push forward in modernizing those processes.
Got it. And is it true that Bricksave allows users to invest in real estate as low as like $1,000?
Yes. So the minimum investment is $1,000. The way it works is we underwrite the properties that go onto the platform, and investors can come on, they can browse the opportunities that are there, and they choose what they want to do. And then, as you say, they can invest from $1,000. They can invest more, but the idea is to really give people an easy entry level and push forward this democratization of the industry. We always say our goal is to allow anyone anywhere in the world to build a real estate portfolio. And over time, we want to reduce that minimum investment as well, and let people get access to real estate whilst removing the complexity of real estate investing.
Interesting. So you're trying to create a truly borderless and an investment platform which is like completely global. So what are the biggest regulatory hurdles to achieve this?
Good question. Obviously the main thing is cross-border here. So we can, every country has different securities regulations or restrictions on what you can do, different ways to classify investors who are allowed to invest. So we have to establish our presence in one geography, which requires going through all the legal structuring, the regulatory structuring, and that's what I would say is the kind of biggest challenge to growing. One of the ways we've overcome that, we recently acquired a platform, Macondo, in Colombia. So they had already done the setup, they'd done the structure, and so we acquired them. They had their structure and their framework in place, and we can then integrate their technology platform into ours and help them and support the business growing in that geography. One of the the biggest things that we've been working on is how we can scale that more efficiently and more aggressively. And we've been looking at different kind of tokenization regulations as a way that we can do that. So we recently actually got a regulatory approval, which would allow us to issue a fully tokenized security. It's one of the only approvals of its kind in the world, and that will allow us to really expand faster. So we're in the process of looking for an asset manager that we can partner with, and if we have that, we would have the ability to roll the product out into 96 new geographies. So the challenge is finding an asset manager, which again is a traditional industry that is slow on the kind of technology uptake a lot of the time, and so we need to find one who is technology forward thinking, should we say, and who wants to be at the forefront of the tokenization of real world assets.
It's high time that fintech and real estate investment need to come out of the traditional modes, because there's an overlap of AI tokenization and also in real estate. So, and also are you exploring blockchain or fractional ownership models?
Yes, I mean the basis of the business is obviously kind of fractional ownership, but even that, the way it has been done is very cumbersome. There are lots of traditional requirements, wet signatures for documents even still, and expensive SPVs and legal structures that are required. Now that reduces the cost base and it will allow us to improve returns for investors and make investments accessible for more people. We have actually already launched a fully tokenized product in kind of beta version through the Macondo platform. And we've already processed more than $4 million worth of tokenized assets, which is our testing platform. But again, that's within one region. We want to use the new regulatory approval that we have to now expand that and reach out into multiple geographies.
How do you see AI integration in terms of Bricksave? I know everyone is talking about AI and everyone wants to have AI, and there's a lot of AI washing also happening. But do you see any integration in Bricksave, or is it already there?
I think that there are lots of opportunities to move into AI and to utilize AI to improve underwriting, streamline the due diligence, and also help improve kind of investor transparency on reporting. From our side, our main focus to date has been on the property sourcing. So we've built our own proprietary sourcing software. We found that tools that were on the market weren't sufficient. And yeah, that's an algorithmic based software that is pulling in multiple data points. So, we have thousands of data points that we're monitoring across the whole of the US. We've identified a top 100 markets. And then from there, what the tool does is it reviews all of that data. We built our own underwriting process that allows it to narrow in on specific geographies and regions that we can focus on. And from there, we can source the properties. We're looking at everything from property prices, rental prices, crime rates, demographic data and information. And it allows us to focus not just on a kind of district or area level, but we can go right down to a street by street level. And that it can identify undervalued properties, undervalued areas, which allows us to then move on to the kind of manual underwriting process, targeting these specific areas where we can get better value properties and higher yields for our clients.
Super interesting. And also, I want to understand how much funding has Bricksave got so far, and what stages?
So we were very lucky. We had a lot of very kind of supportive shareholders at the beginning, who helped us, through our growth phase when we were starting out, looking at structuring, working out all of the different cross-border elements. So that was very important. We've raised just under 5 million to date. We're currently closing a financing round that is about 75% funded at the moment. And we're looking to utilize that to really kind of secure our position as we finish this year and go into next year, on the basis of increasing our growth, as I said, potentially looking to operate in more markets, and and continue to push our mission of allowing anyone anywhere in the world to build a real estate portfolio.
That's great. Congratulations for that. And how did you meet Kinled VC and Patrick? What stage did they support you?
So I actually I knew Kinled from before Bricksave. I'd worked with them quite a lot on various startups, and a lot of the businesses that I was going into, and that I was helping and being hands-on with were backed by Kinled, and that's where our relationship developed and grew. And so I guess there was a natural fit when we were looking to set up Bricksave, that Patrick was the first person I went to and said, look, we were considering investing into a real estate crowdfunding platform, but actually we'd like to set one up. And would Kinled jump in and become our first investor in the business, which they did, and they've continued to support us since then.
And also, I want to understand your perspective on the European fintech landscape right now. How dramatic is it? How mature is it? How is it for wealth tech? Does the payment and the banking still lag? What is your perspective on everything?
So obviously, we think of Europe or the EU often as a single market, but in reality, it's very fragmented. You mentioned the payment space. I think payments, they have benefited from unified EU regulation. That was some of the first regulations that came in, and has allowed companies like Revolut and N26 to grow significantly. I think in terms of wealth tech, which you mentioned, it's much more complex. You have more compliance layers, cross-border investment rules, which vary from geography to geography. Regulation is catching up. Recently there has been a unified kind of EU crowdfunding regulation that was set up. That seems to be going through some teething troubles, but I think it's a positive sign that regulation is there and it is working to catch up, and and wealth tech and things are being able to operate and continue to grow in that space.
Yeah, that's true. Completely makes sense. Uh, Also, I think I would like to understand into startup tips and advice, because you have invested and advised in over 70 startups. So, what are the biggest common mistakes you see founders make when they're scaling fintech startups or scale ups or products?
What's interesting is how the market has changed significantly, not just over the last kind of 15 or so years, but actually even over the last 3 or 4 years. If we look back at kind of 2021, 2022, where there was a lot of capital available for founders, it was much easier to jump straight on, and really to grow and scale. I think there's been a big shift, which is important for founders, in actually building businesses that don't necessarily follow the kind of growth at all costs model, but from day one, starting out to build a kind of revenue generating business, and a business that can survive outside of that kind of venture environment, because it is getting a lot harder for founders, and almost everyone I speak to today, with the exception of some single AI focused startups, everyone is really finding it difficult to raise capital, and is focusing in on operational efficiencies and how they can really bolster their revenue and generate the most revenue.
Whether it be climate tech or sustainability, or but like fintech, people are able to raise money. I mean, there's a bit of dry powder over there. But how's the fintech funding landscape according to you?
I think, as you say, there's kind of dry powder that's out there, but people are being more selective in what they look at. And obviously there needs to be an AI element in these various businesses, to draw in the capital. And I think there's an interesting thing happening in terms of the approach that investors are taking. There are a lot of companies that are doing down rounds and valuations are lower, and that is an opportunity for M&A transactions and bringing together a fragmented market. So we've been seeing quite a lot of movement and having conversations on kind of roll-up style deals, and almost private equity style deals where investors are looking at actually investing into but bringing together a number of businesses from different geographies or different markets and integrating them into a larger entity as part of their investment strategy or roll-up strategy.
Mm-hmm. I know. I just feel when the AI bubble will break, because how many data centers are you gonna build? And yeah, finally you will have to depend on a human to do the AI stuff. So it has to burst somewhere. But yeah, that's a conversation for another day. And maybe a AI panel.
Yeah, I think
I
it's
believe.
definitely becoming a part of our lives and business on a daily basis and improving efficiencies. So there'll be some losers there, but I think ultimately it's here to stay. And the real winners will be those who can utilize it most efficiently, rather than just using it for the sake of using it.
Yeah, that's the race about everyone is banging on. The big fangs are banging on the AI race. But I just imagine if people are using ChatGPT, it's like not it's very cheap right now. But then there will be a point when they decide that this is the price we want to label it as, and then what will happen?
Yeah.
Because till that time, most of the people who are tech savvy are already dependent on ChatGPT to process their brains, and then it's addictive. I just feel so. I try to stay away. So if we fast forward, then what does the future look like for Bricksave?
So we are looking to build a kind of globally trusted platform that can operate across multiple geographies. We're looking to build in kind of more markets, more opportunities, and different asset classes as well as we grow. So to offer a broader range of products on the platform, meaning that people are able to diversify not just geographically but across different asset classes, and obviously generate a larger kind of client base across those different markets. And I suppose ultimately we want to build a company that is reshaping the way people can access real estate, and giving those opportunities to people who maybe can't own their own property. I seem to be having more and more conversations with people about how they're reliant upon renting. This dream of buying your own property seems to be changing somewhat, and I think what we allow people to do is get access to the benefits of real estate investment, a residual income, a rental yield monthly, and allowing anyone to do that, which I think is only going to become more important as this kind of housing crisis or situation continues to grow and move forward.
Okay, that's great. And I just also want to understand about your team right now. How big is it? You said you're also hiring. So, how does that scene look like?
So we've got a kind of very diverse team, obviously operating cross-border. Most of our kind of sales concentration is based in Latin America, where our client base is. So we were able to expand that when we acquired Macondo. So we have Felipe, who's our head of Latin America. He runs the team there, and the sales team is across Macondo, Uruguay, Argentina, and then the kind of underwriting and the technology base of the business is in London. I think when you look at London, as much as there's remote working and things, it still has a great basis of talent, and there's a great access to talent within London, despite all the challenges. So that's where the kind of core back office and team are. And then we have smaller teams locally in the different geographies where our properties are located.
So how many people are there in total?
So we're about 15 at the moment across the different geographies and different departments. And we've been able to, really maintain a streamlined team, as I said, through a lot of automation in our processes, utilizing AI more and more to assist with the underwriting and building out the sourcing capabilities of the platform.
Okay, Tom, so we reached the last section of our interview, which is a rapid fire round. And we have 4 questions for you. And you have to really reply it quickly. And we would love to. It's a funny round, so serious questions but funny. So I'll start with the first one. Oh, one fintech app that you use on a daily basis.
Other than Bricksave, I'd say probably Revolut. I use a lot, or my kind of Binance wallet.
One city that defines the future of PropTech.
The future of PropTech. I mean, I still think that London has got a chance to really be the global leader in that space. It's got a strong infrastructure for fintech innovation, but it also has a huge history as a global leader in real estate. And I think combining those two things gives it a lot of opportunity. It just needs to maintain the energy and the drive. Another one, as an example, would maybe be Miami, where they definitely have got that energy and that drive. There's a lot happening in the prop tech space there.
Most underrated skill in a founder.
The ability to simplify things, to simplify a message, to simplify processes, and communicate what you're trying to build in a clear and concise way.
That's so true. Completely agree to that. If you weren't building Bricksave, what would you be doing today?
Oh,
Astronaut.
I think, definitely something connected to business building. Maybe supporting, first-time founders growing and scaling their businesses. It would need to be something, dynamic and disruptive as well. That would probably be it.
Lovely. Tom, you were perfect with your answers, and this concludes our interview. So thank you so much for joining us, Tom, for Tech Talks with TFN episode. And thank you so much, everyone, for listening to this episode of Tech Talks as well. And this is Akansha Demri, the founder and editor-in-chief of TFN. And I'll see you in the next one with another interesting personality, a founder or investment person from our tech space. Thank you.